Shalom. Greetings from Jerusalem, the city of peace. A rabbi, having many disciples, spent many hours in the study of the Torah. His persistence in research and his quality of attention to details were known to all. However, one day the young people who followed his teaching noticed something surprising. They had realized that their master had been on the same page for several days. Sometime later, one of them dared to ask the question, "Tell me, my teacher, why have you been on the same page for so long? Aren't you tired of your long research? Or maybe you cannot understand what you are reading?" And the rabbi, to surprise his disciple, "Why should I go somewhere else? I feel so good here." Today we want to try to go deep and to understand one of the most difficult concepts of the Bible, the fear of the Lord. A good text for the study can be found in Proverbs chapter 2, verse 1 to 9. This portion of the scriptures invite us to be inspired by the attitude of this master. Indeed, its essential message emphasizes the state of mind of those who seek for the understanding of the fear of the Lord. This is our text. "My child, listen to what I say and treasure my commands. Tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. Cry out for insight and ask for understanding. Search for them as you would for silver. Seek them like hidden treasures. Then you will understand what it means, fear of the Lord, and you will gain knowledge of God. For the Lord grants wisdom. From his mount come knowledge and understanding. He grants a treasure of common sense to the honest. He is a shield to those who walk with integrity. He guards the paths of the just and protects those who are faithful to him. Then you will understand what is right, just, and fair, and you will find the right way to go." Our text is in form of a poem. We can detect a refrain which comes back twice. Then you will understand. You will understand the fear of the Lord in verse 5 and in verse 9. The first section, verse 1 to 4, insists on the condition necessary for the discovery of this great treasure. Each line begins with an if, which means condition, as if to emphasize the importance of this element. Also, note the ascending gradation of the narratives. The second sentence of each verse is parallel to the first, and at the same time, an amplification of this idea. The second stanza is in turn an echo of the first. If you seek, verse 1 to 4, God gives, verse 6 to 8. It is also to be compared with the discourse of wisdom addressed to the foolish person. "Then they will seek me, but they will not find me." This is written in chapter 1, verse 28. These remarks leads us to uplift the essential element of this message. First, remain permanently a seeker of divine treasures. If you want to understand the fear of the Lord, you need to be totally involved. People today run in search of money, of different treasures. God invites us to incline our hearts toward imperishable treasures, and the understanding will come only after the long road of search. In other words, when we ask the question, "What is the fear of the Lord?" it is already wrong. The understanding will not come to those who want to get through a shortcut. The fear of the Lord cannot be taught intellectually. It involves the offering of the entire being. It implies that nothing else is more important. Second element, when we find the fear of the Lord, we have found everything. When we grasp the beauty of God's character, His everlasting love, our heart will come to a state of peace and quietness that we never experienced before. All our anxieties will be eliminated. We will be free because of the fact that we belong to our Creator. This kind of freedom is impossible to occur somewhere else, and this experience was well described by Oswald Chambers, an excellent interpreter of the Bible. He said, "The remarkable thing about God is that when you fear God, you fear nothing else, whereas if you do not fear God, you fear everything else." The search for divine treasures consists in making choices. This is the third element. Paying attention to the divine word necessarily implies that we do not hear other sounds. Leaning our heart to search for God inevitably means that our heart is not leaning in another direction. This is what God said through the prophet Jeremiah. "You will seek me, and you will find me if you seek me with all your heart." The fourth element, go in search with the certainty that God gives. God's generosity is the part of His identity of who He is. He gave us the promise, "For whoever asks receives, he who searches finds, and one opens to him who knocks." Matthew 7:8. In conclusion, there are some important questions for us. If we are looking for the fear of the Lord, what is the value of the treasures in my life? To whom am I attracted? To what extent does the search for the fear of the Lord influence the organization of my daily life? Follow the advice of Ellen White. She wrote more than 100 years ago, "Young friends, the fear of the Lord lies at the very foundation of all progress. It is the beginning of wisdom. All heaven is interested in the characters you are forming. Every provision has been made for you that you should be a partaker of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. Man is not left alone to conquer the powers of evil by his own feeble efforts. Help is at hand and will be given every soul who really desires it. Higher than the highest human thought can reach is God's ideal for His children. Godliness, Godlikeness is the goal to be reached. Before the student, there is open a path of continual progress. He has an object to achieve, a standard to attain that includes everything good and pure and noble. It is written in Message to the Young People, page 40. Stay permanently attached to the source of all knowledge. Learn to fear God and to give glory to Him. He will bless you beyond what you can ever imagine.